Check out this magical, mythical kingdom. We are in French Alps in the Écran. Actually, I'm at the top of a climb sort of past the village of Pays St Vincent. A recommendation from one of you guys. Thank you so much for that. Bit of an enforced rest day because of some mad weather come through, like thunderstorms. We've got snow at like 2,700 meters. Had a blast so far. Alpe d'Huez, Izoard, the works, done some Via Ferrata, and just generally having a holiday. There's so much to do out here, it's insane. But brought the Time Scylon out. That was the bike I chose in the end. I thought, well, Simon took it to the Pyrenees, I wanted to bring it out here. There's something so cool about riding a French bike in the French Alps. I mean, the French and the Italians are rightly very proud of their cycling heritage, and so you see Pinarellos, Bianchis, Villiers just everywhere around here. We don't really have that in the UK. We don't really have a really good heritage road bike brand we really get behind, so it's just done in. And to be honest, the bike really does stand out in that bright purple, and the fact that it's a Time, it's definitely been catching some attention. Anyway, I thought as I pedalled up here, and I've been reflecting on some of the videos we made recently and some of your comments, some of the general chit chat on YouTube, thought, hey, let's put a GoPro on and let's see if we can answer some questions. I want to talk a bit about the Time Scylon, not the actual bike, but some of the bits that we haven't really talked about on it. I've talked about the group set to death, and I've talked about the frame to absolute death. By the way, it descends like an absolute dream. The Zip wheels. Now, I kind of reviewed the 353 NSWs and was a bit like, Zip, you're making life really hard for yourself. You could have just put a bead hook on that and like sold 3 or 4 times the amount. Like, what are you doing hanging onto this hookless thing? And I've been following that whole debate online, and it's mad. I mean, I'm running these Continental Archetype tyres, got like 58 psi in the front, like 61, 62 in the back or something, and it's fine, it's brilliant. It's been really, really comfortable. The bike handles really well, there's no problem with it. But I do like what Josh sort of said about, you know, it's not going away. I don't think it is. I just think that tyre brands are going to catch up, and as we demand, you know, 32, 33 millimeter tyres becomes more normal, then I think hookless will just become more normal. We sort of saw it in mountain biking. For anyone that was around mountain biking in the sort of the late 90s, early 2000s, when Mavic brought tubeless technology to the world with UST, and then Stans followed. It took almost a decade for the tyre brands to catch up with that. You know, gravel's been pretty lucky because it's basically just inherited the technology from mountain biking, but I mean, road is essentially where mountain biking was in the early 2000s, with like this technology sort of springing up everywhere, but the tyre brands are scrabbling to get on top of it. So who knows where it'll all end. All that aside, the Zip 454 NSWs do ride very, very well. In fact, the NSW range always had ridden very well. They're very behaved wheel set. You still get a side wind, don't get me wrong. When a wind is blowing like you did on the Izoard coming down there the other day, you still feel it, but the push comes on quite gently and comes off quite gently. It's not a violent, abrupt thing like you get with wheels that are sometimes quite sharp, like the Karimas that we tested. Oh, they were terrible. They were really unpredictable in the wind. I've always thought that Zips, and the Princetons to be fair, sort of ride shallower than they actually really are. It's like these feel more like you're riding a 30-40 millimeter rim depth rather than a deeper 50-60 millimeter rim depth. So I like them. I like the fact that they're still spokes. I hope they've sorted out the hubs. They're at least £1,000 too expensive. I think if these were £2,500 for the wheel set, they might have got away with it. I think the market will tell. The Zips are always on sale, and I think these are probably going to go on sale as well. They'll always find their price point. Right, these Polymer Workshop bars, I am legitimately loving this. Although Simon managed to break the GPS mount, they haven't sent out a new one yet. We've got a Vision Metron one which actually works, and the GoPro mount, you'll see some of the GoPro footage from this. It's actually probably a better mount, but we have been using the Wahoo Element Ace on them. I've actually brought the Wahoo Elemnt Roam with me on this holiday. To be honest, the screen is nowhere near as good as the Ace. The Ace has got a fantastic screen. This reflects the sunlight way too much. I'd probably say that the Karoo, which I've criticised in the past, is probably better than the Bolt and the Roam in terms of sun glare, etc. But I think the Ace is still Ace. Anyway, back to the bars, and yeah, I just love this shape. This feels great on the tops, climbing. This little descending on this is just an absolute dream. It's like it was almost made for these SRAM levers. This is just beautiful. The whole lever action and stuff descending is great. The top cap has just been, I just like them. I think they're a really well thought out bar, and yeah, they work with this bike. Continental Archetype tyres. Now, I don't think these are going to be in the range for very long. I think these are just a bit of a prototype before they bring out the new Grand Prix 6000s, but if they're going to be anything like these, then I think Continental have nailed it once again. They're great. Hopefully the sidewalls are going to prove to be a little bit more robust than the Grand Prix 5000. That's always my disappointing thing, is that Grand Prix 5000s are great out of the box, but always just wore out dead quick. I still think it's pretty early days. I mean, I've put probably about 800 to 900 kilometers on them. Simon's probably done a similar amount on them, so I probably need to do another 3000k to sort of see if they're going to hold out, but early signs pretty good. Other little things, you guys are asking how the seat clamp looks on the Scylon when it's in its forward position. Well, it looks like this. I sort of set this up for a customer that actually came to test ride the bike and then never put it back, and I've just sort of left it. But I'm the world's worst person to be doing bike fitting, because I can pretty much ride everything as long as my saddle height is between, you know, 79 and 81. I'll get away with it. The purple chain is still actually quite purple. I thought all that colouring would just scratch off, but that's holding up pretty well too. Time pedals, these are actually the 53mm one, trying to go for the narrowest stance width possible, and you can get away with that because the Scylon doesn't have a UDH or anything silly, and it's plenty of hill room there. And yeah, saddle, after trying lots and lots of stuff, I always just keep coming back to the ProLogo Dimension. This is the one with the NACK, the carbon rails. It's just my favourite saddle. Once you find your favourite, stick with your favourite. As for kit, Smith helmets, love them because I like the fact they're sort of compatible with Smith sunglasses. Love it for the mountain bike, quite like these, although Vic has just got herself the new Mavic one, which looks really super smart. Alley cycling kit, in fact, actually using Alley cycling shorts. Kind of a big fan because I don't like spending a lot of money on cycling shorts. I think they just go mouldy no matter, you know, which ones they are. You can spend an absolute fortune on ASOS, and you know, once you've sweated in them a few times, the chamois is just dead. So I tend to go for middle of the range shorts in the sale and replace them more often, because sometimes you can spend hundreds of pounds on a pair of cycling shorts and they still just degrade. So there's almost a pointless waste of money. I'd much rather have new shorts more frequently than expensive shorts that then just go mouldy anyway. When I say mouldy, they're just like, the chamois just gets to the point where you start getting saddle shorts as soon as you wear them. You're a cyclist, you'll know what I mean. Replace your shorts often. There's almost nothing you can do to wash out stuff after a while. Oh yeah, shoes. So tried the U-Dog ones in Mallorca. I didn't really get on with them, they were too wide for me. Vic likes them. Danish endurance socks, because white socks never stay white for long, so you might as well get the cheap ones off Amazon. There we go. Right, the cloud is somewhat rolling in, so I'll just get out of here. Got quite rainy. Here we go. While I'm pedaling, things you might not know about your Wahoo is that on big long climbs like this one, you can click the climb page. Now we can see where the top is. Now we can see the route profile to the finish. And one more, see the route profile of the day so far.